Hi guys, welcome to another review, and today I have my very cool vintage 1974 Klingon figure, of course made by Mego from Star Trek the original series. Although when Mego were making these action figures and play sets like the bridge for example, I think their designs of the characters were pretty highly influenced by the animated series, which of course had the original series cast minus Chekhov, I think. I have never actually seen it. I'd love to, I just haven't got around to it yet. But moving on. So this guy here is based off of more his animated appearance than the appearance he had in the TV show, because he'd be wearing more black than a burgundy brown, I suppose. And a hint of gold if it was the TV version, but nevertheless, it's still a very, very cool figure, and here he is, the Klingon. Now, I don't have the package for him, but I do have the one that came with my Mr. Spock action figure, which was also a vintage Mego right here, so you'd have a rough idea of what it looked like. As you can see, you've got all your characters here, all of which, apart from Scotty, I now own because I did recently pick up a nice Dr. McCoy, who I will also be reviewing soon. And this is, of course, for my Spock. As you can see, you've got this on the back. The problem with this is that I've just recently noticed you only get 6 figures here, not 5 figures, sorry, not 6. 5, not 6, as this doesn't have Uhura. So I think this package that came with my Mr. Spock figure was actually a Type 1 box that had a Type 2 figure in it. So, oh well, I don't mind. It's nothing particularly major. Well, none of my other Megos have the package, and all I really do want is the figure. So, nothing major, but oh well, moving on. Here we have the figure, and he is very, very cool. If I just start off with his head sculpt. Let's turn his head at a bit of an angle there. His head is quite nice actually. It's unique, it's different. He of course has his long pointed sideburns here. His nice goatee. Or would it be a Van Dyke? I don't know. Either way, it looks very, very nice. There's a tad bit of paint missing from his sideburn just there. Nothing too major, so I'm not really going to bother touching it up or anything because, well, it's not really major, is it? There's a tad missing from the side of his beard as well, which is a little bit disappointing, but nothing major. And the camera looks like it's picking up most of it for the most part, but if I just reach over and switch on my light, yep. Help if I remember to put it on beforehand, but I won't. He has his unique hairline, of course, which looks very cool. And some nice brushstroke details here. So it's very nice, and there's a bit of paint that's bled over here, so. Yep, he also had some red marks on his nose, but I just picked them away with my fingernail, really. Didn't have to rub it hard or anything, and it came off nicely. Now then, his costume. This is a very, very nice faux leather actually, I have to be honest. If you know Biff Bang Pow, they did some nice retro style Doctor Who action figures, mainly based from the 4th Doctor's tenure as the Doctor. And they made a Leela figure which had like a faux leather skirt. This leather, or faux leather, blows it away. It feels really, really good, this leather does. Once again, it's fake, but it feels nice. Got a nice texture, as you can see with those stitching lines there. Not stitching, but you know what I mean. Even the way it like moves and crumples, it looks really, really nice, I have to be honest. Gotta give Mego their due there. You have these golden ball sections on his costume, I guess you could call them. They do stick out, as you can see there. Probably the most fragile part of his costume, actually. So I'd suggest you be very, very careful with them. And I suppose if they get scuffed up, you can just always take a gold Sharpie to them and that'll be problem solved, so nothing too major. He has his nice trousers here, which are just a stretchable red, and if I take one of his boots off very, very carefully, he has a jumpsuit, which is what the Mego Spider-Man also had, as you can see here. So that's pretty cool. His boots do come up very high on him, and they're not really as detailed as the like say Kirk boots. They're just black with a nice kind of matte, glossy, almost like a mix between the two. It looks very nice. And I like the fact they actually did cut out a gap there, because although it's high here, he can still bend at the leg because of that very accurately positioned cut there, so that's good. His hands look very nice, as you can see, zooming in, if it does zoom and focuses. He has some nice wrinkles and crinkles, what have you. Crinkles? New word there. He has his fingers split a tiny bit here, as you can see. That I think they came all joined, but over time they do split. Same thing here, it's this finger. Like I said, they don't stay together forever, and a good example of this has to be my Captain Kirk, which I have here. You can see, split there, and I think this hand's, yeah, he's got quite a few there, as you can see. They can hold up, but I mean, it just happens naturally, like my Spock one. His right hand is really good, actually. His left hand's got a tiny bit there, but nothing major. Doesn't ruin the figure for me in the slightest. If I just very, very carefully unbutton his costume as well, very carefully, because it does seem very, very fragile, these buttons in particular as well. As you can see there, it does say Mego Corporation, Hong Kong. Where is this? There's Hong Kong. And on his neck, you've got the 1974 date. And if I move his arm forward, you do have the Mego tab there, but it's actually starting to come off, as you can see here. So I'm just not going to really touch that, as I don't want it to fall off. And whilst I'm buttoning his thing up, this is just in such good condition, this figure. I paid 40 for him from a local, he's got something on his leg, from a local shop that sells like old toys and what have you. It's where I got my Kirk and Spock from, actually. And yeah, £40 for this is a good deal, because he's just in such excellent condition. It's unbelievable actually how good he is for condition. There's no marks on him. He's just pristine. If he didn't have the package, or if he did, I should say, then it'd just be perfect. But like I said, it's not the biggest loss in the world that I don't have the package. He has his typical accessories. He's got a phaser, which it would have been nice if they redesigned a new phaser for the Klingon. But yep, there's his phaser. It looks like it's a new one, I don't know. It looks kind of scuffed on this side, as you can see on the Type 1 phaser, but for the most part it looks like it's in really good condition. So I'm, whoopsie daisy. So I'm just going to assume that it's a probably a remake one. And I've found, if I reach off camera as well and take my Kirk's one, the original Mego ones, they feel a lot more solid. Like if I drop this, see, it's got like a solid sound, but this one bounces more and it's got more of a hollow sound. So I think that's a good way to check if they're original or not. I mean, it probably just sounds stupid, but yeah, this one, it's very, very beaten up. It looks old as well, so I'm just going to assume that my Kirk's one is an original one. And I'll just put it in his hand quickly just to show you what it's like. Holds it well enough, considering the time period and what have you. They didn't have interchangeable hands back then, but oh well. Very nice. He has a communicator. Why, I don't know. I mean, they didn't really use the same kind of communicators, but yep, typical communicator. This one looks like it's in pretty good condition as well. Oops. And yeah, he holds it same way as all the other Megos do, really. It's a pain to get in though, because it's really small, this communicator. Bear with me. There we go. Just holding it with his thumb there, and it's very cool. So let's take it off camera just to put it back in his belt. I like the fact that they included it, I suppose, but you know, it does make you wonder why they bothered Mego including it. But oh well. As far as his articulation goes, he has a swivel in the head, which moves nicely, as you can see. He does have a squashy head as well, but his doesn't squash as much. His arms, if you notice, actually, if I just... His left arm does stick out more than his right arm, so when he's on the shelf, I do kind of put this arm out a bit more as well. Actually, you know what? A tad like that, so it looks like it's kind of symmetrical, but oh well. It does go all the way down. I've taken this top off and done it, but I think there's just the way it's sculpted, the fabric that is. So, oh well, nothing major. He can also, if I just bend his elbow very carefully, as it is quite delicate, bend that far. Just quite a good range of movement. Oh wait, no, we can go further. And that is very good range of movement actually, considering the time period. He has a swivel and a hinged wrist, which is kind of loose actually. But oh well, I'm not going to be moving him a lot. That ball joint in the waist / pelvis area, which doubles as a swivel and a ball joint, which is very good. That really good leg movement that I've come to expect of these retro style figures, and a bend in the leg, or knee I should say, and in the foot, as you saw when I took off his boot earlier. Whoop. Can you hear that? Oh dear. Ooh. That's his knee joint, that is. It's a tad bit squeaky. Nothing major. My main concern when I just heard that is that there was elastic inside him starting to tear, but it's just the knee joint. That's weird. I'm sure I would have bent his knee just to test out his articulation when I got it. I don't know why it's just stiffened up all of a sudden. I could fix it with a bit of oil, I suppose, but I'm not going to bother. Anyway, just to give you a quick size comparison, he is a tad bit taller than your average Mego I've found, mainly because of his boots. If I just put Mr. Spock there, as you can see. Mr. Spock isn't at the straightest of angles, but yeah, he is kind of taller than him. And here we have my Captain Kirk. So yeah, he is a relatively tall action figure. Moving these to the side. And something I've just noticed actually, if you look at his communicator, it has like a circle on it, as you can see there in the middle. And my Mr. Spock one and my Captain Kirk one, they don't have that. So I think that's another way to check if it's a reproduction communicator. I'm not fussed if it's a reproduction communicator. I mean, if the value drops, oh well, I'm heartbroken. I'm not going to sell it anyway, so I don't mind. And just as another size comparison, I picked up a Biff Bang Pow figure off my shelf, and I decided to use one of my favourite ones. They're all good actually, I like all of them. Scaroth, the last of the Jagroth from the City of Death. Very good Doctor Who story that was. If you haven't seen it, I'd highly recommend you pick it up off Amazon. When I picked it up, it was about £5 from what I remember. So, brilliant story as well. So, yep, just as a basic size comparison, very good figure this. I've got a review of him as well. Be sure to check it out if you're a Doctor Who fan. So yeah, he's very cool, this Klingon, and something I wish they did do, just on a side note, is give each Klingon a name, like an individual Klingon name. Like maybe have it imprinted on the back of his, you know, underneath all that Hong Kong and stuff that's written on his back, maybe a name. And because they didn't, I decided to name him myself. And I went on the internet, I looked at a few Klingon names, and I decided, yes, I am this sad actually, by the way, I did name an action figure. I decided to name him Koroth from the House of Mego. Yep. So here we have Koroth. He's a very good figure, and I don't really rate Megos because they're just more sentimental pieces than they're not really the things I want to rate, because I buy them because I just love the retro feel and everything. I don't want them to be amazing. They just are amazing in their own simplest forms. And you can get this guy on eBay pretty cheap, the repro version made by EMC Toys. Or is it EMCE? I'm not sure. Actually, it's written on my Scaroth figures revolver. quickly have a read of that. It says EMCE, yeah, I was right. EMCE Toys, a Diamond Select release, of course, made this guy a repro, and you can get him for like under £20 on eBay from what I've seen. And you might be thinking, well, why didn't you get him? It would last longer. I like the nostalgic feel of these Megos, so that's why I decided to buy him. And if the elastic does unfortunately snap, there are some very good tutorial videos on YouTube on how to fix them, whether it's a Type 2 or a Type 1 Mego body. So I don't have a thing to worry about there. All I need to do is take good care of my action figures, which I do. So here he is, he's an awesome, awesome piece. I'm hoping my birthday's coming soon, I can bring you reviews of a Scotty and maybe an Uhura, because I found she's the hardest to find as the original Mego, that is. I'm not a snob, I do enjoy EMC Toys ones. I plan on getting myself a Pavel Chekhov and a Korusulu down the line and putting them on display with these guys as well. So, like I said, I love all vintage action figures. I mean, these guys are displayed with my Biff Bang Powers as well. So I'm not a snob. Anyway, moving off my little rant. I do hope you enjoyed my video, and I'm looking forward to bringing you a lot more videos considering my birthday's coming up, and yeah, I'm hoping I get a little bit spoiled this year. Anyway, thanks for watching guys, take care.